Picture this: a New York where obesity was rare, waistlines were smaller, and the average person weighed significantly less than today. The 70s weren't just a decade of bell-bottoms and disco music, they held secrets about health and lifestyle that modern society has largely forgotten. What made those New Yorkers so remarkably lean compared to us? Walking into a New York kitchen during the 70s meant encountering ingredients your grandmother would recognize. Processed convenience foods existed, but they hadn't yet colonized every cupboard and dominated every meal. Families cooked from scratch because that's simply what everyone did. Sunday's roast chicken came from an actual butcher, and vegetables arrived covered in dirt from local farms. Supermarkets were still battling neighborhood bodegas for dominance, and frozen dinners remained a novelty rather than a nightly staple. People bought fresh milk delivered daily in glass bottles and purchased meat in quantities meant for that day's meal. The concept of ultra-processed food wouldn't enter public consciousness for decades. Ready meals represented less than 5% of the food market. McDonald's had opened its first New York locations only in the early 70s. The convenience revolution that would reshape New Yorkers' bodies was still in its infancy, leaving most people dependent on actual cooking skills and ingredients that resembled their original forms. The 70s lifestyle didn't include gym memberships because everyday existence provided all the exercise necessary. Walking served as primary transport for millions. Only 55% of New York households owned a vehicle in 1975. People walked to shops, work, and school without considering it exercise. It was simply life. Factories in the Bronx and Queens, Brooklyn docks, and construction sites employed millions who spent days lifting and building. Secretaries walked between floors delivering messages, and shop workers spent entire shifts standing. Even office work involved climbing stairs and traversing buildings regularly. The sedentary service economy hadn't fully emerged. Children roamed neighborhoods freely, building adventure playgrounds and riding bikes until darkness fell. Families went for walks in Central Park and Prospect Park. 3 television channels and no internet meant limited reasons to sit still, so recreation required leaving the house and using your body. New York plates would shock modern diners with their modest proportions. A standard dinner consisted of 3 ounces of meat, a scoop of potatoes, and vegetables. Restaurant portions weren't designed to provide 2 meals worth of food. The American phenomenon of supersizing was only beginning to emerge. New York experienced significant economic turbulence. Inflation reached 11% in 1974. Families budgeted carefully, wasted nothing, and stretched ingredients across multiple meals. Second helpings weren't automatic. Children heard "waste not, want not" daily. The Great Depression and World War II had left memories of scarcity fresh. Snacking between meals wasn't standard practice. Breakfast happened at breakfast time, lunch at midday, and dinner in the evening, full stop. Vending machines weren't everywhere. The culture of eating continuously throughout the day hadn't normalized. Eating represented distinct events rather than an ongoing activity. Sugar consumption looked nothing like today's torrent of sweetness. Soft drinks remained occasional treats. Many children experienced soda only at birthday parties. Water fountains in schools provided hydration, not vending machines. When New Yorkers felt thirsty, they drank water or made coffee. Breakfast cereals hadn't transformed into desserts, masquerading as morning nutrition. Bread didn't contain added sugars that would later become standard. The food industry's discovery that adding sugar to virtually everything increased sales lay somewhat ahead. Yogurt came plain or lightly sweetened, not loaded with sugar. The average New Yorker consumed approximately 80 pounds of sugar annually, far less than the 130 pounds typical today. Corner stores sold penny candy that children purchased with saved allowance money. Desserts appeared after Sunday dinners and special occasions, not following every meal. New York hadn't yet drowned itself in the sugar tsunami. 3. Major channels define New York broadcasting: ABC, NBC, and CBS. Channels signed off late at night with a farewell message before screens went blank until morning. Average viewing time totaled roughly 3 hours daily, significantly less than today. Evenings didn't vanish into endless binge-watching sessions. Families watched a program or two, then turned the set off. Children couldn't retreat to bedrooms for screen time because most households owned just one television. When programming failed to interest them, people read books or visited neighbors. Watching too much television carried social stigma. Without remote controls, changing channels required getting up and walking to the set. This meant people committed to watching rather than channel surfing mindlessly. The sedentary lifestyle enabled by modern entertainment technology remained decades away. Manufacturing employed over 2 million people in the New York metropolitan area, a significant percentage of the workforce. Factory workers spent shifts on their feet assembling products. Dock workers loaded ships. Construction crews built skyscrapers using methods requiring human muscle. Physical labor dominated. Secretaries walked between offices, delivering messages. Email wouldn't exist for decades. Retail workers climbed ladders, retrieving stock, and spent days standing. Banking involved physical paperwork and filing systems, requiring movement. Most New York workers burned substantial calories simply performing job duties. Housework demanded genuine effort before modern appliances. Washing clothes meant scrubbing and hanging heavy, wet fabrics. Preparing 3 meals daily from scratch required hours of standing and chopping. Running a household kept women physically active throughout days, naturally maintaining activity levels that prevented weight gain. Pedestrian culture thrived in ways barely conceivable today. Manhattan streets bustled with foot traffic. Children walked to school independently. Workers walked to subway stations or directly to workplaces. Sunday walks represented common family activities. The city was designed around pedestrian movement. Subway and bus travel meant walking to stops, standing during journeys, and walking to final destinations. Many families managed without vehicles, organizing lives around public transport and foot power. Purchasing groceries required carrying bags home on foot, providing both cardiovascular exercise and strength training. Neighbors simply walked over and knocked. Teenagers walked to friends' houses. Couples strolled through parks. Bars served as walking distance destinations. Geographic distances we now consider requiring vehicles were routinely covered on foot without hesitation. Restaurant meals represented genuine special occasions, not routine conveniences. Most families ate at home, virtually every day. Dining out happened on birthdays or anniversaries. Financial constraints meant restaurant prices took significant bites from budgets. Many working-class families rarely ate restaurant meals at all. Chinese takeout joints and pizza places existed, but represented occasional treats. The proliferation of fast food, pizza delivery, and burger chains that would transform New York streets lay mostly ahead. When families felt too tired to cook, they made sandwiches or eggs. Restaurant meals typically contain far more calories, fat, and sugar than home-cooked equivalents. When people eat primarily at home, they naturally consume less. The absence of takeaway temptation meant tired families couldn't cave to convenience cravings, keeping dietary intake within bounds that prevented weight gain. New York's social life happened outside homes and required physical presence. Young people gathered at community centers and dance halls. Adults joined bowling leagues and amateur theater groups. Bars and clubs served as quintessential social hubs where communities gathered. Every interaction required leaving your home. Courting couples went dancing for hours at discos every weekend. They walked through parks, went ice skating, or attended concerts where standing and dancing were expected. Meeting romantic interests required going places, all requiring movement. Relationships developed through shared activities rather than digital messaging. People attended church services, school meetings, and neighborhood events. New York communities were predominantly local. People knew neighbors and participated in local activities. Maintaining relationships required regular movement through local areas. Every friendship necessitated getting up, going out, and being physically present. New York streets and parks teemed with unsupervised children. Kids left home after breakfast during holidays and returned when streetlights came on. They built forts, played tag, climbed trees, and rode bikes for miles. Children learned independence while burning countless calories through constant movement. Video games were primitive novelties found only in arcades. Home computers wouldn't become common until the next decade. Television programming for children was limited to specific hours. Boredom meant going outside and finding something to do. New York childhood centered around outdoor play and physical games. Kids walked or biked to school independently from young ages. They ran errands for parents and explored neighborhoods and vacant lots. Physical fitness came naturally from lifestyles prioritizing outdoor play. Children developed strong bodies and cardiovascular fitness without anyone labeling it as exercise. Food absorbed roughly 25% of household income, compared to 10% today. Families planned meals carefully, wasted nothing, and thought twice before indulging. Meat was expensive, so portions were modest. Fresh fruit represented a luxury, not a daily expectation. Casual abundance simply didn't exist. The 1973 oil crisis disrupted supply chains. Blackouts and strikes created uncertainties. New York families approached food with respect born of scarcity concerns. Leftovers became new meals. Bones made soup stock. Stale bread became pudding. Nothing was casually discarded. When food is expensive relative to income, people eat less. Snacking and second helpings become luxuries. The modern phenomenon of cheap food encourages overconsumption. In the 70s, economic reality enforced moderation, accidentally promoting dietary habits that kept New Yorkers slim. New York workers moved significantly more, getting to and from work. Even those using public transport incorporated substantial activity. Walking to stations, standing on crowded vehicles, and completing journeys on foot meant every commute involved exercise. Many workers cycled or walked entire distances. Roughly half of households lacked vehicles. Traffic congestion made cars impractical for many journeys. Downtown bustled with pedestrians and cyclists heading to offices. The shift pattern economy meant subways and buses filled with workers at various hours. Alternative transport methods remained common. Commutes demanded physical navigation and genuine effort. Rush hour meant crowds, climbing stairs, and standing for extended periods. This twice-daily burst of activity meant workers burned calories before and after shifts. Simply getting to work represented exercise that contributed to maintaining healthy weights without anyone recognizing it as such. Before commutes became sedentary, did travel itself help keep New York moving in every sense? The 70s showed us something profound. Staying slim doesn't require special programs or conscious effort when daily life naturally incorporates movement and real food. Those surprisingly thin New Yorkers weren't following diets, they were simply living in a world structured differently. Modern New York has engineered away nearly every opportunity for natural physical activity and replaced real ingredients with processed convenience. The secret wasn't a secret at all, it was an entire way of living that we've abandoned, one convenience at a time, and our expanding waistlines tell that story perfectly.